Thank you, Marvin. Marvin has always been a big supporter of mine as well as BREC since the time I've been in Baton Rouge. And first person I thought of when they asked who to introduce me was Marvin. So thank you for that, Marvin. And so, yeah, Ty did call me back in February and said, you know, one of those Februaries we had to miss because of inclement weather. Said, Corey, I got some good news and bad news. The good news, we still want you to talk, but you can't talk next week. And he said, well, you know, we had to cancel Jay Johnson, and when we talked to Jay Johnson, he said he can only do next week. I said, Ty, let me give Coach a call. So I called him, and I said, Coach, I'm next week. He's like, well, Corey, you know, we just won the College World Series. I said, well, we just won the gold medal. He said, you know, I've been to the College World Series 3 times. I said, we've been gold medal finalists 18 times. And so after a little back and forth, I finally gave in and allowed him to speak on that February. But it's great to be here in April. Great to see so many Rotarians in the room today. Certainly want to formally recognize State Representative Dixon McMakin. He was part of the visitors here, so we appreciate him being here today. I have a portion of my presentation dedicated to him. Also want to recognize my boss, Chairwoman, Ms. Donna Collins-Lewis, who's here supporting me today as well. Several members of our staff, Mr. Roderick Augustus, our maintenance department, Anitra Boykin, our chief legal officer, Reed Richard, assistant superintendent of planning, construction, and J.R. Robinson, chief operating officer in charge of a lot of things, including our partnerships and community engagement, as well as we have members from the Baton Rouge Zoo Foundation. Thank you guys for being here, for your support, and for your sacrifice in terms of being a public employee. We know the sacrifices you make. Last but not least, I want to recognize and thank the staff here at Drusilla, specifically Miss Belinda, who always welcomes me with a smile and has made a big impact. This may be the last time I have this mic in front of me, so I wanted to make sure I recognize her while I had an opportunity. And so we have a lot of stuff to get through. As you may have heard, we've been in the news lately, and so I want to get through as much as possible so we can get to our favorite part of these presentations, which is the question and answer period. And so more than anything, you know, we focus on the fact that Imagine Your Parks. Even when we were planning last year, we talked a lot about, do we come up with a different name? We had Imagine Your Parks 1, Imagine Your Parks 2. Couldn't come up with anything else because we really value and believe in the principle, the fact that it is your parks. And we talk about your parks, our purpose. So we know they're your parks. What's our purpose? And so we talk about our mission statement. Start every presentation out so that everyone understands what our purpose is, and that is to enhance, right, make better the well-being. We're talking physical, emotional, social well-being, and the connectivity. That's bringing people together. That's the core of what our mission is, East Baton Rouge Parish. And we do that by preserving, taking care of what we have. The zoo has a lot of conservation efforts. We celebrated Lacumba #3 at Southern. That's part of our conservation efforts. Maintaining, we have a lot of stuff to take care of, and improving our parks, our recreational facilities, our natural resources, and our recreational experiences, not only for the benefit of current generations, but also future generations. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I often wake up in the middle of the night thinking nightmares of her saying, who built this park without Wi-Fi, you know, 20 years from now? And so I want to make sure everything that we're doing today is benefiting our future generation as well. Oh, here's my favorite slide. It shows everything that we have to offer here in East Baton Rouge Parish. over 6,500 park acres, largest landowner in East Baton Rouge Parish, which means we have more neighbors than anybody else in East Baton Rouge Parish. We try and be a good neighbor to all of our neighbors. But look at all that stuff, and that's what really makes us one of the best park systems in the country, because we have a variety. It's hard for anyone to look up there and not find something that they're interested in doing. But on the flip side, as most things in life, it's our biggest challenge as well, too. All of those things are living assets that have a useful life. And as they get older, just like as we get older, the maintenance cost increases. There's a lot more things to take care of, and eventually you have to replace those things. And so part of our challenge is how do we offer a lot of things, but also bring quality things to our community, not to stretch ourselves too thin. And that's what we're going to be focusing on over the next 10 years. Here's a slide that we share with our board once a month. We talk a lot about the construction projects and what we're doing, and we know folks like to see those things. But at the end of the day, we're people serving people. And this is a slide that shows how many people we're serving in different parts of the parish. Now, these only are people we're counting. And so if you look at the bottom, 1.879 million, that's an increase over 2023. And so this is 24 compared to 23. You see where the bulk of our service is in recreation. Those recreation centers, those youth fields where kids are playing. Golf continues to do well. That's a record for golf, 191,000 rounds. And the zoo, 235,000, the highest attendance since 2014. A lot of that had to do with the improvements as well as the support that we received from the Baton Rouge Zoo Foundation. Oh no. And so this is all we could count in terms of people coming through the doors. Over the last couple of years, we've worked with Placer AI, a software, a retail software originally, that tracks people's cell phones. Because I got tired of saying, you know, we can't count the people in the park. And so we have that data now, and we're able to go back and look at it, and then not just 1.8 million people that we can count, but this slide shows in 2023, over 7 million people in our 175 parks. 2024, we hit that 7 million number again, a little slightly down from 2023. And so when you're serving that many people, like McDonald's, every now and then the ice cream machine may be down, you know? And so yeah, you know, there are things that we don't have perfect that we're working on, but of those 7 million experiences, most people are having a good time in the parks. Here are the parks with the most attendance, starting with City Brooks. So City Brooks made it. Almost a million. It's hard for me to see. Almost 2 million in 5 years. About 400,000 people a year. Only about 20 or 30,000 are playing golf, by the way. So I wonder what those other 300-something thousand people are doing. We have Highland Road, Perkins Road, skate park. That's skaters out there every day, all day. Independence Community Park. We have a library. We have a theater. We have a splash pad. We have a water park. Ball fields, and then the biggest one, Burbank Park. Almost 1 million people a year go to Burbank Community Park with our great partnership with Baton Rouge Soccer. We had a lot of business people in the room, so we wanted to make sure we address this. We did an economic impact study. What's our impact in the parish? We worked with the Trust for Public Land. We looked at different areas in terms of health, property values, and those sort of things. And with that report, which is online at yourpurposebrec.org, we looked at all these benefits that we receive as a result of having a great park and recreation agency. And the biggest one is the recreational benefits, where you see the little guys on the bike. And I think we have these in here. We can go one by one. But ultimately, we receive about $78 million in tax revenue, and we provide over $318 million in benefits. We'll go through a couple of those now. First one, enhancing the quality of life through recreation. Over $279 million in recreational benefits. The Army Corps of Engineers has a value, a recreational value, every time you ride your bike in the park, every time you walk in your park, every time you jog in the park, every time you do something that's free in the park, there's a recreational value. So we're able to survey people, find out how often they go to the park, find out what they do when they go to the park, and based on those values, you can see over $280 million. Other benefits we provide: preventive health care. This one is sort of intuitive, right? We have folks outside walking, exercising, and so we save ourselves about $8 million in health care costs. Next one, flood risk through parks. 2016, bunch of folks sending us pictures saying, wow, look at this park across the street from me holding all of this water. And so we started gathering all of that information and ultimately determined, working with CSRS, that our parks held almost 10 billion gallons of water in 2016, enough to fill LSU Stadium 71 times. And the great part about that, Reed and the rest of our team, we're working to make sure our parks hold even more water, because that's water in our parks and water that's not in your businesses or in your homes. And so we save ourselves about $3 million in stormwater management a year. Property values. If you live close to a well-maintained park, your property values are going to be about 10% higher than other property values. The best example of that is a golf course. We got pictures of City Park there. Think about the houses around that golf course. Santa Maria, and those are parks where we cut the grass every day. Now, we're not going to start cutting the grass every day at every park, but those are why those property values are higher. Tourism. Folks come from all across, not only the state, but the country, and even the world to visit a lot of our facilities, like the zoo and our gallery, Liberty Lagoon, Knox Children's Museum, and we talked about the number of folks that come to Burbank from out of town to participate in soccer events, as well as our golf courses. We didn't have this in the economic impact study, but it's important, as I know this is the top of the mind for our community, our new mayoral administration, the role that parks play in reducing crime. It should be intuitive to us that when kids have something to do, they're less likely to commit crime. And so we've worked, and these are two articles from Trust for Public Land as well as NRPA that talks about the benefit of parks and the roles they play in reducing crime. One great example of that is BREC has a partnership with the Baton Rouge Law Enforcement Foundation as it relates to the development of Howell, the Inspiration Center at Howell Community Park. This is going to be a 40,000 square foot facility funded with state dollars, Boys and Girls Club, as well as new market tax credits, as well as funding from the city. You didn't hear anything about BREC participating in that. BREC is obviously providing the land, but this will be a place where law enforcement will have a presence right in the heart of 70805. We're excited about this partnership in our effort to work with all partners to continue to reduce crime in our neighborhoods. As an example of that, last summer we held the Late Night Hype program. From 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Gus Young, 70802, we played basketball with the police. Kids learned how to cook, and they had music and games. It was every second and Friday night throughout the summer. And you can see there are lower crime rates in 2024 compared to 2023. Some more examples of that. And then we're hoping we measured the impact in terms of reducing the crime, and we're looking forward to doing a Late Night Hype again at Howell Community Park this summer, working with BRPD and other community members. Howell has a new pool, so it'll be late night drip as well, as the pool will be open. We'll allow kids to swim late and play basketball and do all sorts of things this summer. So 20 years just going back, Imagine Your Parks 1. Many of you remember 2004, our park system was at a crossroads. BREC came and asked the community for a new tax, and that was Imagine Your Parks 1. And that helped develop the 12 community parks, Highland Road, Perkins, North Sherwood, Anna T. Jordan. It also brought Liberty Lagoon, it brought the dog parks. All of these things were introduced to our community as a result of the community supporting that new tax. And then Imagine Your Parks 2, 2015 to 2024. We improved some recreation centers, expanded them, put air conditioning in them, did a lot of great things. Here's some pictures of that. We used to have the sand playgrounds. We don't have too many more of those. We've had turf fields now, air conditioning recreation centers. Here's some transformative projects all across the parish, from south as far as Airline Highway Community Park, to the north, Greenwood Park, trails all across the parish, the Lakes Project right in the middle of our parish, safe rooms with Memorial and Airline Highway. It's a picture of one at the bottom left, state-of-the-art recreation centers that are funded by FEMA and the Office of Community Development. Again, none of your property tax dollars going towards that, but when 99% of the time state-of-the-art, but they will also be used as emergency operation centers for emergencies and those sort of things. Frenchtown Conservation Area in Central, and the Howell Park Community Recreation Center and Pool, again in 70805. And so look, as part of IYP 1 and IYP 2, we went to the community to develop those plans. We asked the community to then fund those plans. And then it was on us to implement what the community asked us to put in that plan and fund those plans. And as a result of that, in 2022, in front of about 10,000 park and recreation professionals in the convention center in Phoenix, Arizona, your park system was recognized as the best in the country. And as a teaser, you see strategic long-range planning, resource, fiscal management, innovative high-impact service delivery. And so try and wrap up quickly so I can give you a funny story about the gold medal, as well as ask me where we are on our audits as it relates to fiscal management. So now we're Imagine Your Parks 3. We have the blueprint. How many of you received a survey, email, in terms of putting together this Imagine Your Parks 3 plan? Somebody, a lot of hands up in the room. Also, just a quick question, how many of you have served on a BREC committee, have volunteered for BREC, served on a BREC commission? Appreciate your support in that. And so this planning process, data-driven, focus on equity access. We have a 10-year long-range plan, but because it's so hard to plan for 10 years from now, we have a more specific 3-year action plan. These are those metrics that we'll be measuring: welcoming to everyone, connecting people, connecting places through more connectivity, moving forward sustainably, as well as a connected environment. People continue to value our role as it relates to the environment. We put together this equity map looking at these different community indicators, environmental and health indicators, and also looked at our investment over the last 10 years with IYP2. And we highlighted those areas that have the highest need. As you would imagine, we're talking about Old South Baton Rouge, North Baton Rouge, Gardere, North Sherwood, and Florida area. And so we'll be focusing on making sure we make improvements in this area over the next 10 years. Our biggest challenge that we have to face is our recreation center portfolio. I talked about the number of things that we have, and one of those things is 56 recreation centers, more than anybody in the parish. Not in the parish, in the country per capita. A lot of them are old, a lot of them have no air condition. And so what we're going to do this year, a lot of what we're going to do is talk to the community about which recreation centers we need to repurpose, improve, and maybe reduce from our inventory. So we'll be having those discussions throughout the parish all year. We were successful this past November, thanks to a lot of you in this room, in terms of securing funding for your park system over the next 10 and 20 years to try and maintain the same level of service that we're providing now. Had a 10-year tax as well as that new tax in 2004. And so since 1966, 60 years ago, BREC has only increased taxes one time. That was in 2004. When we were created in 1946, the enacting legislation says we can levy up to 18 mills. We've progressively increased that as we needed. We're at 14.4 now, and we don't plan on going any higher anytime soon. Here's a good, the voting polls. 180,000 people voted in November. 100,000 voted in favor of one tax, and 95,000 voted in favor of another tax. This is the best evidence we have that people were happy with the work that we are doing and also trusting us going forward with their tax dollars. 100,000 votes out of 185 was more than anything else on the ballot. More people voted for us than Donald Trump or Kamala Harris or Mayor Edwards or Mayor Broome. We had more votes than any parish-wide, showing the support that we have from the community. And so as you may have heard, as Marvin announced, I will not be seeking renewal of my contract when it expires in August. A couple of things that I'm proud of, working with the team that you see listed up there, a lot of that I've talked about. As someone who grew up with the benefit of a park right up the street from me that helped me ultimately stand in front of this podium today, I know how important it is that everybody has a park to have access to. And so all of these things, but more than anything, last November, it's not about what I say, it's not about the commercials that we put on showing how nice we are. It's not about what reporters write. At the end of the day, when you go into that voting booth, you think about the experience you've had at a BREC park. And in November, you guys told us that you're having good experiences and to keep up the good work. And we appreciate you for that. And that's the most proudest thing I have, along with the passage of our 10-year plan focused on equity moving forward, access for everybody, to be able to accomplish those two things, highest achievement I've had since I've been working. Quickly, maybe I'll answer some questions here. Legislative proposals impacting BREC. We got two of them. 86 changes the BREC commission makeup. We're currently 9 members. Current structure has been in place for 80 years. The proposal has 5 members. 87 repealed the BREC current law and put BREC under city parish. As you know, we can only share facts. I can't take a position as a public employee, but the facts, that's the facts. And so many of you raised your hand, participated in our development of our community, of our 10-year plan that you also funded. I don't know how many of you participated in any public, raise your hand if you had a public meeting to talk about these bills. Nobody? I thought maybe I might have missed a meeting. But if there were no meetings regarding the operation of your park system, then that means there are a few people who want to change what everybody says we're doing a good job at. We have a lot of great things going on in April. Best time of the year for us. We serve more people than we do in any month of the year in April. We had an adult Easter egg hunt, did that for the second year last week, and we got our kids hunt on this Saturday coming up. I think I timed that just correctly so I don't have any questions, but we got a couple minutes. Anybody has any questions regarding?
Are you able to use the phone data to help with any crimes that may be committed in the parks?
Yes, as part of our 3-year strategic plan, again, what the community told us to focus on, safety. And so we're piloting some safety measures, and we're determining where to do that at based on the data we have of incidents and those sort of things like that. And so you'll be seeing some different lighting and stuff like that in some of our parks where we've had more incidents than others. Question?
Hi. We live in the unincorporated area of the parish out around Pride, Cheneyville, and I didn't hear you talking about that. There are 9 parks out there that are pretty much disarray.
Yep, and so again, the data, our investment, we looked at it, and you're correct. We looked at the investments over the last 10 years and say, hey, we haven't done much in that area. So we're prioritizing improvements in the Cheneyville, Pride area, including a new recreation center which will be built out there in the upcoming years. And so we recognize we need to do more in that area.
Question. Staying on with the mills, obviously we've been following the library, the mosquito abatement, a lot of conversation about others in the parish that are part of the mills. You happen to get yours passed before all these conversations. But is there an opportunity or an obligation at this point for, even though you're independent in your funding, to come and be part of a conversation about, is there any way you could financially support the police as they come to BREC events? Is there a memo of agreement that you might form or expand the park rangers so that you are part of the financial solution? I know you can work independent, but is this an opportunity to engage with the mayors to help be part of a financial solution as we move forward?
Absolutely, and we need you in public government if you're not already. BREC has a lot of partnerships, you know. We couldn't have a children's museum unless somebody sat down with us and said we want a children's museum. We wouldn't be able to serve 1 million people at Burbank a year unless we had a great partnership with Baton Rouge Soccer. We have a cooperative endeavor agreement with the city of Baker that talks about how we can leverage our resources. We certainly prefer to have those conversations about how can we work together to serve the people that we're obligated to serve together. And so we're open for those conversations. No one has come to Corey and said, hey, Corey, can BREC give $20 million towards safety measures or anything like that? We would welcome those conversations so that more heads are at the table solving our problems. So absolutely.
Corey, 2 questions for you. One is, what's the process for finding your replacement, and do you know, the timeline, what's that process look like? And then the other question is, on the commission, those appointed positions, they're unpaid, correct?
Correct.
And they meet a minimum of 24 times a year, or like, how many meetings do they have for the pleasure of volunteering?
Yeah, I mean, we have 12 board meetings, but we also have committee meetings that each commissioner serves on.
Yes, so I mean, your 12 minimum meetings, I mean, most people that do voluntary boards
Yes.
once a quarter.
Correct.
So my point is there any opportunity, or is there in the rules to where those positions can be paid, even if there's a stipend to some degree, so that you maybe get people that are, you know, either more qualified or more willing to do a better job if they're getting paid something versus showing up 20-something, 30-something times a year for free?
No, look, we have the best and the brightest on our board. I don't want you to think just because we're not paying folks. We have a Mike Polito. He owns a $200 million company. I don't know if we can get anybody more qualified than that in the business world. We have Donna Collins-Lewis, who served as a Metro Council person for 12 years and has great public experience. And so, look, the way we're structured is part of our success. I mean, everybody serves at large. The majority of them are appointed by the 7 or by 12 Metro Council members who represent everybody in the parish. They select 6 of them, including Donna Collins-Lewis. And so our board, is the way it's structured, it's worked that way for 80 years, and we actually have people come to us all the time to say, hey, how can we structure ourselves like BREC? How do you guys did that? You know, sit down and help me do that. And so, no, we think we're a good example of how boards should be structured.
What about your replacement? Do you know?
Yep, and so at the April commission meeting, the commissioners will be putting that on the agenda in terms of creating a search committee and hiring a consultant firm. So that starts in earnest now, that we've been having those discussions now. Somebody was listening. I told you, asked me a question about the audits. And so the 2021 audit was due in July of 2022. It didn't get completed until June of 24. Some of that had to do with a death of one of our CFOs and the auditors not being available, but certainly some of that is on us as well. That was completed in June of 24. The 22 audit was completed in December of 24. The 23 audit, just got an update on that. We should have some financial statements, a draft of that in the next 30 or 45 days. And then the 2024 audit, which is due June 30th, normally we would be starting that April 1st. We're probably not going to start that until June 1st, and so hopefully we can finish that sometime in August and September. But thank you for that. I appreciate all the questions.